Duke Luca Abel tore down the original palace in Karnaca, his birthplace, in order to build a lavish structure that cost enough to feed everyone in Serkonos for years. It's said to be a sprawling estate to humble all others, a monument to his ego and sense of princely entitlement. But whatever the Duke has done to his nation happened while I was Empress. In Dunwall, we were content to look the other way as long as the silver kept flowing. I've got to get inside the Grand Palace, deal with the Duke, and find a way to steal Delilah's soul.
Can't feel it. This is my last night. Soon, I'll dissolve into the great nothing.
You should be at peace.
I've stayed too long. Find Delilah's spirit. Trap her with this cage of dead flesh. Set me free.
I don't understand.
You will, very soon.
Long for someone to go after the Duke. Another aristocratic boss living in a palace.
Yes, I regret my affiliation with the young Duke, but his father and I...
Empress Jessamine herself once offered me a suite at Dunwall Tower, complete with a laboratory, finest apparatus in the Isles. I declined, of course.
He could always
I'm not some conjurer from penny novels. Besides, I have a great fondness for my pride. My interests often find me coming and going in the odd hours of night. It's hard not to become aware.
Once the Duke falls, it's my hope that we can build something better here, something more representative.
Empress Jessamine herself once offered me a suite at Dunwall Tower, complete with a laboratory and the finest apparatus in the Isles. I declined, of course. I'm not some conjurer from penny novels. Besides, I have a great fondness for my privacy, and my interests often find me coming and going in the odd hours of night. It's hard not to consider what might have been different had I plotted a different course through my early years. Was there something I might have said or done when Delilah was my apprentice that could have prevented all this? Or is character a fixed star we must all follow in darkness?
I wonder what Aramis Stilton can accomplish now that things are different. I hope Paolo can bring some kind of justice to Karnaca. Byrne wanted to be High Overseer. Duke Abel spared no expense on his new palace. It's tacky if you ask me.
Now we're going after the one who started it all. The Duke himself. I forgot the thrill of it. Planning drop-off points and picking the approach.
thinking about the best ways to kill somebody who lives behind high walls. But with the excitement, there's a black echo that comes back to me for what I did at Dunwall Tower. If anyone deserves killing, though, it's Duke Luca Abel. I've loved a number of women, and even a couple of men. But I've never loved anyone like my Deirdre. After I left home, those first years on the streets, she's all that kept me from the bottom of the river. I could sleep on a pile of garbage under a leaky awning as long as she was there with me. Sharing a tin of potted meat or a bottle of brandy. We nicked during the day. The Duke and his little brother came through Dunwall. And Deirdre and I got in their way as they stepped out of their fancy coach. The Duke goaded his brother, calling us wharf roaches. And it was the brother who swung the stick that killed her. Splitting her skull, there were wooden gazelles on top of the coach. And I snapped one off and drove it into his eye, as deep as it would go. Deirdre was already gone. Dead as a doornail. Lying in the muck, staring up at the gray Dunwall sky. On the run after that. I was hunted by the City Watch and even members of the Grand Guard up from Serkonos. People looked at me like I was cursed, spitting whenever I got close. Everyone knew I'd bring trouble. Even the gangs. The Duke's brother has been dead for a long time. But now's my chance to get back at Luca Abel for setting him off against pretty, young Deirdre. Nothing was the same for me after they took her away. Are you ready for this?
I've been inside a dozen castles and 100 mansions, and they're the same everywhere. The Duke's palace can't be anything worse than Lady Brisby's social afternoons.
Getting inside might not be the hard part. The Duke doesn't exactly run a tight ship.
Taking down Duke Abel is only part of the puzzle. You've also got to find whatever it is he's keeping for Delilah.
You were cryptic about what you gleaned from visiting the Dust District, which is fine. The world is better with a hint of mystery. But once you're inside the Grand Palace, whatever you do could affect things in Karnaca for years to come. Remember that.
I've got a map of the Grand Palace for you, and I know something that may be useful. There's a hidden lever in the pantry that opens a passage to the Duke's vault. If he's keeping anything precious for Delilah, I suspect that's where it'll be. Beyond that, good hunting.
I'll see what I can do. I know things in Karnaca are fragile, and I've got a lot to think about after all this is done.
Ready to visit the Duke?
All right, let's go.